Welcome back to the Planet Paintball podcast, brought to you by 1023 Sportswear and Southwest Paintball in Bayfield, Colorado. Special shout out to the boys at Shocker for hooking me up and tuning in the gun, and the New Jersey Gestures and Julian. Thanks for the swag, buddy. And Filthy for the jersey. Really appreciate it, guys. Anyways, I got Tony Tran with me. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yeah, thanks for having me, Hunter.
So, for those that don't know, Tony, you're based in Greenville area, the upstate, if we will, of South Carolina. The owner of the Trandanas, even though you got a Sandana on right now.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while I'll make a run and just when I feel like having something new.
Yeah. It's been a hot minute.
It has. I think my last one that I made was that purple one. Remember that?
Yeah.
With the shag and wagon fabric. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, I like those. So before we jump into the full history, let's talk about how Trandanas came about.
Man. Okay, so this is back in the day. Okay, so this is back in the days of Agronaut, back in the days of like when HK first started getting popular. I was on a team React. I was playing D5, and one of our players on the team, Speedy, was all into the ag scene, wearing HK headbands. I want to say he had a huge collection of like Venom wear, looking good, looking hot. And me and the other nerds on the team, we're on a different line, and we're like, well, I'm gonna make some headbands that are HK for my homies, and we're gonna wear them in spite of Tommy. And I made some Hello Kitty headbands.
Okay.
And I went and bought some Hello Kitty fabric, and we wore them, and we were like, HK. And I think that event, we ended up, I made them for everyone on the team, just handed them out just as a joke. But we ended up placing like second place. We ended up placing better on our line than they did. And it was just funny. It was a funny thing to do. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna, now I know how to sew headbands. I'm gonna get some better fabric and actually make some cool headbands. So I just, when I wanted something fresh, I go to the fabric store, find something cool, might order some custom fabric, and then I cut it up, sew it up, and I'd pick one out for me. And then I just like sell them to my friends for, like the cost of materials and time. I think I was selling for like $40 a pop. And I maybe had like
Not
10,
bad.
10 or 20 headbands at a time. And people would eat them up. And at one point, someone asked, how much do your headbands sell in the secondary market? And it's like, I don't know. No one's ever resold them. So it's like, good luck, right?
Yeah. People buy them and keep them.
Yeah. So if you ever find a Trandana for sale, let me know because, I wouldn't mind buying it back.
Fair enough. Well, let's, I mean, you've been in this game for a really long time. Like, I would say you're one of the true OGs in the area that's still playing. So let's start with how you found paintball.
Yeah, it's like everyone else. So my mom bought me a Brass Eagle Talon for my birthday when I was
Nice.
16 and, almost shot my eye out in the backyard kind of thing. And I decided to go to the paintball field and actually play against some people. And I realized real quick that that Brass Eagle Talon was not going to cut it. I went,
No.
so I went out there and I watched like my first time visiting. I rode my bike like 15 miles to the paintball field. I didn't realize. So when you're driving in a car, it doesn't seem like it's far away, right?
Yeah.
But then when you take a bicycle out there, you realize exactly how far it is. And I spent probably about, a couple hours riding my bike out to Fire Lake in Anderson.
Okay.
I played I watched the first time. They had Angels, Automag RTs, Novas, right? Those are the kind of guns that were out there. And it was just amazing just watching them play. And so I was like, I need some better equipment. And so I saved up, got a Spider Classic and just started playing woods ball out there at Fire Lake through high school. And then through college I found every chance I could get to play. And when I got out of college, it was like I think it was like '06, got a good deal on a Shocker and really started playing tournament paintball right then.
Okay.
So
What was the first tournament team?
well, okay, so my first tournament team, like so I played a few small 3-man tournaments while I was at the Coast Guard Academy.
Okay.
Just like woods ball 3-man tournaments, like in the woods of New Hampshire, whatever, all stuff like that. But my first actual tournament team, I was on this team called the Super Best Friends in Western New York,
Nice.
and, uh, and it was just, like, a bunch of stoners and me, and, I was like the it was like herding cats, right? So I'd be like, "Guys, it's our next point. We gotta go." And they'd be like, "Hey, man, it's all good." And we get there, and as soon as we hit the box, it's like a switch turned on and they locked in. And it was like we were unbeatable, right? So the leagues we were playing back then was like the precursor to the AXBL.
Okay.
And I want to say that squad that I was on, I ended up moving back to the Carolinas before the AXBL, but I found out they turned out to be the Tonawanda Nightmare. So you might have heard of them.
Yeah.
So that's the squad I was on. It was used to be the Super Best Friends. So
Okay.
yeah, and I was
Should
shooting
have
a
stuck with the first name.
right. So back then, I was actually shooting a like a 2002 Angel that I had bought for like $100. It was an Angel LCD cut and carved edition. It was beautiful. It's purple, and I bought it at a pawn store, and they're like, "Eh, it's broken. I'll give it to you for $100." And I was like, "Well, it's worth the aluminum right there, right?" So I
Uh-huh.
took it home, and it turns out the gasket between the solenoid and the body was backwards. So I flipped it around and it shot like a dream, dude. So it was amazing. That was an amazing shooting gun too.
That's a hell of a steal for a backward gasket.
I know, right? I mean, those guns were selling for like, shoot, man, that was like almost 2 grand at that time
Yeah.
when I was a poor college kid. So that was sweet.
And all because someone took it apart and just like flipped it in backwards and probably didn't even bother checking it again.
Absolutely. Someone with too much money than sense, right?
Yeah.
So
Happens all the time.
sorry, whoever you are, if you're seeing this,
That would be great.
it was purple, purple rain.
Little Prince action. So that was during the Coast Guard. Did you play at all after the academy or did you just
Yeah,
take a
yeah. So when I
hiatus?
came back to Carolina, pretty much instantly, I found a local field here near Easley. It's called Command 56 Paintball. This is where my one of my best friends, Parker Lawton, and we started a team called Alpha Dogs. I want to say we played probably a season, right, of 3 man, and then
Okay.
I guess like we found out that there's bigger events, and so
Hmm.
we got involved in a local paintball event. Was it the CFOA 3 man series
Okay.
up at Upstate Paintball, which is now Paintball Central, and we ended up you know cutting our teeth there in 3 man back when Dark Carnival was still like in their big swing of things, and
Yeah.
and then I got picked up by a team, React, Mark Holmesley's team, and played with Dylan Holmesley and them for a few seasons. We played with React for a while, and pretty much kind of taught me everything I knew foundationally about paintball when I was on that team. And then from there, we went over and joined up. Ken Barrett was my coach. He taught me everything else I know about paintball, pretty much, right? And then
Guy's got a lot of knowledge.
yeah, yeah. So React merged. We pretty much merged with Dark Carnival, and then we became moved from Dark Carnival to Collision, played some D2, and then I think Collision kind of uncollided, and then and then I've been kind of yo-yoing back and forth between really wanting to compete and just kind of taking it easy. Well, after leaving Collision, I kind of want to take it easy. And I played with Philip Aguero's team in Drew Aguero, and we were playing with the Crusaders locally in the CFOA 5 man series. And then from there, I think we finished the Tournament of Champions there, and we ended up taking second place. Absolute chaos, pretty much, or Dark Carnival took first place. And then after that, I joined up with Absolute Chaos, and that's when we made our big run, right? Our big national series run.
Yeah.
So that was what 2013, 2014,
Yeah. Yeah. During that run. So let's back up a little bit though to React because React was during like
the
the
heyday.
first iteration of all.
Yeah, man. So yeah, React, man, that was the heyday too. Like before, like pre 2008, you'd have a local CFOA event pulling 300 teams.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. And if you made like top 30, you were ecstatic. right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. You did really good that event.
we made it. We made it. So you made it past prelims. You were on you're riding high. So there was no layouts day. You had to show up. There were 6 different field layouts you had to go walk, you know.
Mm.
And yeah, those are some crazy days back then. And the movement from 5-man to X ball was nuts. It was pretty expensive. By granted, we had a great paint sponsorship. We were working with we were shooting chronic paint, and
So good.
chronic paint was ridiculous. It would break like if it came within a molecule of your jersey, it would break, right? And then it would reach around like venom and grab the back of your shoulder. It was the best paint ever. And it's sad they're not around anymore. But man, we would get that chronic. We could get it for like $26 a case, which was less than our practice paint. And so we just buy the junk out of that and shoot it everywhere.
And you guys were based out of New Gen and PVC, not PVC, and Easily at the
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah. New Gen and Easily. Yep. And that field, I mean, that field's since closed. I think it's like a recycling center now or something. I don't know.
It's
But
a rock climbing
here's it.
gym now. Yeah,
Oh
I
wow.
passed
Yeah.
it the other day. It's wild. They've added on. I'm sure you remember where they had like the night ball field.
Yeah.
So back there's just this like towering 3-story building now
Wow.
or more. It might be 4-story
Their front
even.
field's just full of pine trees now. It's crazy. Like I didn't
Yeah.
think it was that long ago, but that entire field's been grown in with the forest now. It's nuts.
You froze on me there.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
But yeah, I was saying that entire forest, that entire field's like a forest now, the front forest. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. You can't even tell there was a paintball field there at the time, much less like one of the premier fields. So how did the merger with React and Dark Carnival come about?
I don't know. I think it was really predicated on the X ball, right? The move to X ball, because we didn't really have enough people to field like a full X ball team. And so that and the move away from New Gen to PBC as a home field. We were there in Greenville. We pretty much moved there as Ken was building the turf field at
Okay.
the new location. So we put in some sweat equity there, and helped actually hammer down the turf. I mean that field is built rock solid. It's got limestone underneath. It's been graded. It was like everything. Like Ken really knew what he was doing putting that together. But it's like I think it was just the need for more committed bodies, right? Because like the amount of players we had that could commit to X ball, it wasn't enough to make all the events, so we had to combine forces.
Gotcha. Just because like you guys were in it. React was like really big while I was off at college, but like you guys were a legitimate team,
But yeah,
which we hadn't had in the area for a while outside of Dark Carnival. Like you had legitimate sponsorships for divisional teams, right?
yeah, we had some crazy good sponsorships. I mean, we had I want to say it was like Black's Nursery was sponsoring us. We had AAA Locksmith sponsoring us. Rick Haskett, he's an awesome dude. He was, Kendall Haskett was one of our players when he was like knee high. Now he's like twice as tall as I am. It's crazy, right? You see these kids grow up. But yeah, we had some legitimate like local company sponsorship. But yeah, no, we had some real corporate sponsorship. We had some real like local businesses like actually putting real money in, to cover our packages, cover our entry, and it made it affordable for the kids to play. And we really were a team of kids. I
Yeah.
think I was the oldest guy on the team, and I was like 22, 23 years old. Everyone else was like between me and 16, 15 years old.
I mean that's a pretty young squad, right? When you're talking about.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of aptitude there, and it's just I think our world wasn't as big as it is now. Right now, you've got social media; you can see exactly how big the world is, and you can set your aspirations high. Whereas, our team, we were looking at CFOA at the time, CFOA was a big league.
Yeah,
That was
I mean
we were looking
at
at
least the second biggest in
yeah,
the world at the time.
yeah. So we were playing CFOA the entire series, and then we'd play World Cup, right? So that was our schedule. We hadn't got to the point where we were looking at playing PSP as, full time. but I think if we really set our sights on it, we probably could have, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you guys definitely had the ability there for sure. So you merge into Dark Carnival, Ken starts coaching,
You start
you
seeing
know.
he started seeing, pulling the killer out of the players, right? So before we were like a team of young gentlemen, and then Ken gets a hold of us and turns them into killers. So, ruthless, shoot them in the ear, if you bunker somebody, put it yeah, so then you started seeing a bunch of kids just, like, let loose on the world, no more one-shot pack hits. It's like, roast them in the ear if you get them. Don't let them spin on you, that kinda thing, playing that Carolina attrition war of attrition ball.
Yeah. And like I know they got their thing they're doing with the ICPL right now with Dark Carnival, and Ken's heading that up with a couple other guys, but like for me, you guys were like the last generation of Dark Carnival guys.
Yeah, and you could say that. You could say that. I mean, realistically, as a team, as a culture, like a culture of killers on the paintball field, like, just trying to get aggression out, really. But now, like, now you've got, like, bonus ball rules, you've got malicious intent. I don't know if that culture will fit in really well.
No, no. Everyone wants it until they get it.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Everyone's all about bring the violence until they're the ones being violated. Then
No,
all of a sudden it changes.
I love getting overshot, though. If I'm running down the sideline on my way out, overshoot me. We'll let my homies come and catch you in the back, you know? Look at me the whole way, you know?
Please.
I
I'll
I
take
did
your
that
gun.
I did that once at one of the local, events. I wanna say it was, like, a year or 2 ago. What was it, the CPXL? That was
Okay.
yeah, so I got shot out of the corner, and I just start running down, like, not inbounds. I ran behind the refs, I had my hand up, I was running out, but I guess the players thought that I was, advancing. I don't know why, but they lit me up all the way down the sideline, and while they're focused on me, my teammate ran down the Doritos side and just shredded them, and they tried to complain that I was, playing on or dead man walking or whatever what have you. But I was like, "No, I had my hand up, I was out. You guys just kept on shooting me. Well, why'd you keep on running?" Like, "'Cause you were shooting me."
I mean, if you're gonna keep shooting, I'm gonna keep running.
Yeah. I was well out of bounds, you know? At one point, I think I tried to hide behind a ref. Yeah. I'm like, "I don't care, man. It advances the team agenda. I'm good for it."
That's awesome. So Dark Carnival turns into Collision.
Yep. So Collision was I guess it was a players between North and South Carolina, right? So we lost a few players, gained a few players, got a bunch of guys from Charleston joining up, a bunch of guys from North Carolina, Asheville area, and then a few of us React kids. And
Okay.
so it was a collision of Carolinas, and so that was the team name. And what's ironic is about the same time we came out as Collision, LA Collision also came out, right? So they were playing at the same level we were, and there was Carolina Collision and LA Collision. It was like, so, but we saw who lasted.
Yeah.
LA Collision.
Yeah. Yeah, the West Coast won that one.
Yeah, yeah, I'll give it to them.
So it with Dark Carnival, were you playing PSPs at that point or just like occasional PSPs?
Yeah, no, for when we were Collision, we were playing PSPs.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we're all
okay, so
all
that
in.
was that step then.
Yeah, we're all in. We're playing Division 2, all in. That's the first time I've been to Phoenix, Arizona, was that PSP. I don't think it was I wanna say it was like 2011 or 2012, I can't remember, but, that was awesome. I mean, the greatest part about that event was it was so hot, but I'm sure, people have been there can tell you, like, the heat, it's like a dry heat, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really not that bad, your sweat does
Yeah,
its job.
yeah.
It evaporates and cools you down, and I was like, "Man, this is amazing." You just had to stay hydrated, that was the most important thing.
Yeah, if you're a Southeast guy and you go out to a West Coast or really just Rocky Mountains and past, like 100 degrees out there is nothing. It
Right.
feels like 75 day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can breathe. I can barely breathe down here in the humid air, but, like, when you get out there, it's, like, clear, and your sinuses clear out. It's clean air. It's like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a little dry, you gotta pack the chapstick. So Collision just kind of fizzled at the end, or
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, at some point I was kind of falling out because I don't think we were performing where we wanted to perform, and I wanted to play with some other friends. And so I left the team, I think, before they ended the team, right?
okay,
So I'm not sure where the actual end of Collision happened, but everyone went their own ways. I want to say just to play with other teams locally, but I ended up going to I remember there was one event when I kind of made my decision. We were having a collision practice at a CFOA event. I was playing points with Crusaders at the
okay,
CFOA event, and then I was between points, I was going to practice with collision, you
okay.
know? And I was like, I kind of like having fun. So it was just, it was a lot of work. So I was like, I'm here to have fun. I think I'm just gonna have fun and drop back down. So I think we were playing D4 with Crusaders, and we ended up winning a whole bunch of events in D4. So that worked out pretty well.
So you were with the Crusader camp for a while. Uh, that's the other. They were like around for the very end of New Gen, also, right?
Right. Yeah.
So after them, is it from them straight to Chaos, or
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, well, went from them to, well, pre Chaos was Dark Carnival, right? So it was
yeah,
I want to say they were the last young kid generation of Dark Carnival, right?
yeah,
You could say
yeah? I
that,
feel like
right?
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, where like, Absolute Chaos was playing as Dark Carnival, right? And we had a bunch of players on there, and we were doing pretty well in the CFOA X Ball series. I want to say that's pretty much all we were doing there. And then we made a decision as a team. They were like, "Hey, you know what? Let's go make a run. Let's make a run at it. Let's see what we can do in the PSP and play the full national series." Amy Webb was, taking the lead on the team, and she was really ambitious, and she wanted us to play the whole series. And I think everyone was down. Everyone was at the point of their lives where we could afford to practice every weekend. We could afford to travel to, all these events. And Patrick McKenna, he had showed up out of the blue. I guess he moved up to South Carolina from Florida, and he was going to play with us as a player. And I think he ended up hurting his knee at work, which really worked out for us because he got benched. And because of that, he's like, you know what? I want to be a coach anyway. Let me coach you guys. And he was the best coach anyone could ever ask for. I swear, man. Like, he would get us hookups and connections with practices against Division 1 teams, against pro teams. He would get D1 teams to fly to South Carolina and practice against us. And we were just Division 3.
yeah,
And just with his connections, right? So we were going to Baltimore, practice against Boone, you go against Prime in Alabama, you go down to Florida, practice against Rack City Clutch. I think it was Tampa Bay Damage was down there, Impact players were down there at this practice. And for a D3 squad, that was invaluable, right? Just
yeah.
to sharpen the blade. It was incredible. And so we ended up just being unstoppable in PSP. I want to say we got 8th place in Dallas. We got 2nd place in the Mid-Atlantic, which ended up being, I think that was like in, Delaware or something like that.
Okay.
Um, and then we got 1st place in Chicago and 1st place in World Cup. So, if you look at that season, what was crazy is after we got that 2nd place in Delaware, we did not lose a match.
Wow,
We went undefeated, like, even the prelims, right? We went undefeated in Chicago, undefeated at World Cup. We didn't drop 1 match. So
that's a feat
yeah.
in any division, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we had Mark Henley, we had Spencer, we had, Hunter Webb, we had the Kimball brothers, Danny and Josh, Derek Shiver, we had Keaton Rhodes, me, Lance, I think I'm probably forgetting like, oh yeah,
I feel
London.
like you've named
We had London
London. Oh,
Lewis.
yeah, London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had Jay. Yeah, Jimbo's son Jay. Like, what was great is that Jay and Danny would pretty much take turns on the snake. So we'd have a fresh snake every single player. Or every
Mm,
single point, we'd have a fresh player in snakes.
that alone is
Yeah.
invaluable, right? Like if you got two good snake eyes that you can just rotate, like that's awesome.
But yeah, yeah, and we had Jimbo, like, he's from old DC, like, he would come coach us. or he was from
Mm-hmm.
Gridlock, actually. I think he played with Gridlock. And, yeah, he would come coach us. We had, man, we had tons of support, tons of support. And I think towards the end there, we even had our own little private field
Yeah.
down at Trandanas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The field was cool.
Alex set up he hooked us up with a field that we could play at, and it was like our little field of dreams, you know? We'd hosted we hosted Rack City Clutch, Breakout came out a few times. It was a good little practice space.
Yeah. Yeah. The Carnage guys rolled up for one, I think at the end of the season when you guys had like just opened it. Like it was pretty fresh still, but it was a nice little practice field they had for sure.
Yeah, it was sweet. Yeah, we had a little air compressor there, we had the Cascade tanks. But I guess we just didn't really have any bathrooms, but,
Hey,
we had trees.
bunch of dudes on a farm. It's all right. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And like pretty good location. Like it was like right off the highway
Oh,
almost,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right off the highway.
And I know Amy can be controversial, but she ran one hell of a program, and she was always really nice to me.
She is nice.
So
Like, here's the thing, she would crack the whip, man. She would crack the whip. If she didn't wanna get if you weren't giving her way, she'd crack the whip and she'd get her way.
yeah,
So, I mean, she made it possible, right, for us to do what we did, and, she got the relationships built. She got we got the HK sponsorship. I wanna say at the time, we were when we were suited up head to toe in HK, I think we were the winningest HK divisional team they'd ever had at the time,
nice.
which is,
And
something to say.
and that's when like HK they were kind of transitioning, right? Like as a company from this little Grom company to like a company that does everything.
Right, yeah, they're putting out we got the new KLR goggles, we had the hopper, the TFX hopper, the first run. We had the hardline pants, we had everything HK. I think we even had the pod packs, everything, pads, like literally head to toe HK. And what really blew my mind was those first TFXs when they came off the line. We got them at practice. Everyone gets their gear and they're like, "Oh yeah, I want this." Like picking your colors out and stuff. You're fighting over gear. And I opened up my TFX hopper and I'm just messing around. I pressed the power button and it spun for about 5 seconds. And I was like, "Wait, what?" And there's no batteries in it.
No batteries
No
in
batteries.
it.
So the capacitor, they had tested it at the factory, and they took the batteries out, and the capacitor held the charge that whole time.
So from wherever it's produced, I think it's fair to say China
Yeah,
somewhere, right?
yeah,
All the way to South Carolina, it held a charge.
yeah, so
That's
off
pretty
of that,
impressive.
I was super impressed. That circuitry was solid, like that power button, there was no voltage bleed. So, yeah, I was very impressed. I was like, "Okay, electronically, I'm impressed." And then, it served us well, so
So you guys run through the season. Pat's coaching, obviously, like Amy and Carl, like just big paintball supporters for a long, long time. Which really, like at that time, that's what you needed to be successful, right? Like you needed management staff, which we're seeing more now in the pros, but back then, like not a lot of teams had that.
yeah, you need logistical support, right? You need logistics, and, like, because players, man, like, you don't think 5 minutes ahead. You might get a hotel booking, but then you're like, "Okay, where are we going? Where are we meeting?" But, like, Amy had it on lock. She had, told us what the hotels were gonna be. "We're gonna eat dinner at this time. We're gonna eat as a team. We're gonna go out as a team. We're gonna hang out as a team," and we did everything as a team, going out, we went to town, we go out, have fun, we get back to the hotel, we'd review game footage, we'd talk about the game plan, and then we'd execute. And it was well structured, So I don't know if many teams have that as far as like having a well structured like group.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's rare even now, right? So, obviously you win the series. A second and two first place normally do it.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Undefeated from Chicago on. Was that a 4-event season? Were they still doing
No,
4
I think they
events
did a
then,
five
or was
event
it
season,
5?
but I think we just
Okay.
skipped one. I forgot I
Okay.
think we skipped the West Coast event just
Gotcha.
just for travel costs.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really if you're a D3, maybe even a D2 team, like you can skip the farthest one away from you.
Right.
It's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
and I think now they've even fixed it so like it doesn't affect your rankings, right?
Yeah, you can drop. I think back then you could even drop one.
Okay.
Yeah, so it
So
wasn't a
that
big
they
deal.
had the good old drop score.
Yeah,
Nice. So from there, I mean, you guys are coming in hot off that stellar of a season. I mean, and also like Rack City Clutch, which you guys practiced a decent bit, was killing it in D2
they
at
were.
the time
They
too.
were. They
So
were murdering.
not that you guys were sister teams, but like you spent a lot of time together.
We did, and we were. You might say we were right. We spent a lot of time together. We grinded a lot together. We spent a lot of 2-day weekends together, practicing against each other and with other teams. And yeah, so I think so. They jumped to D1, and Amy, being ambitious as she was, she said, "Let's go to D1 from D3." And I guess our team was kind of 50-50 split on whether or not we wanted to do that, but ultimately we're like, "Okay, let's do it." And, it didn't work out very well. It turns out you need, like, a full-time gym membership to compete in D1. We had a bunch of recreational, tournament players essentially. I don't know, like, we were pretty good, but D1's a whole whole 'nother level,
Yeah.
obviously, right?
And for the new guys here, D1 is semi-pro.
Yeah, yeah. So we went from Division 3, which is essentially club. I would consider D3 as, like, club, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Like the high end of club, and
Travel
then
ball, right?
after that, yeah.
And then D2 would be like the intermediary between club ball and semi-pro. So D2 is like, hey, you're trying to sharpen the sword. You're looking to bump to semi-pro. Um, but yeah, so we skipped D2 altogether. And honestly, I think the reason why Chaos did so well is because our pits were not chaotic. The opposite, right? It was the opposite. We get to the pits, we'd be cool-headed. If we had a bad point, nobody was pointing fingers. Nobody was frustrated. We come in, hey, what went wrong that point? All right, let's fix it. Hey, let me cover your back. I need you to look this way instead of that way. Okay, great. We'd fix it, right? In D1, we were getting chopped up so bad. I don't think we won a point that first event. I don't honestly, and the pits were it was very frustrating in the pits. People would come back to the pits pointing fingers, throwing pods. And at that point, I was like, yeah, we lost the magic. Like, because the cool heads in the pits weren't there anymore. And you couldn't go back out as a team if you weren't a team in the pits.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. Even today, right? You'll see teams that fall apart in the pits, they'll lose the match easy. And you
Yeah.
see a team that loses a point and comes back to the pits cool headed, they'll go out to win the next point because you're able to reset. But if you carry the last point with you to the next one, it's not gonna work out for you. So yeah, so I think that was probably the beginning of the end. It was just too big of a jump. And I think if Amy kept on telling us, a year to learn and then a year to earn. Right? That was her motto for jumping to D1.
Yeah, which I mean, like that's a good mindset to
Yeah.
go in with, like if you're making that jump.
Right. But I think the players lose that mindset in the heat of the game, right? Because you're frustrated, you're not winning. But you're not but I was like, but we're supposed to be learning. We're supposed to be getting whooped in the behind right here.
Yeah.
The point is for us to get beat up and to learn our mistakes, learn our lessons and get better. We're essentially using this year as a full-time practice.
Yeah.
And I think there were a lot of players on the team that just it didn't click that way with them, and they got really frustrated and they lost that year to learn vision, which it's tough to take, right? It's tough to follow those
Yeah.
lessons.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's especially when you come off a year like you guys had, right? Where like, a little warm up in the beginning of the season, but then you pretty much just stomping people the rest of the season.
right, exactly.
It's hard to go from the stomper to the stompy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We made kids cry when we were in D3. I saw them cry, and it tasted good, their tears. But then to regurgitate those tears, yeah. But yeah, so as it turned out, I actually had after the second event, I actually had a custody battle I had to fight. So I had to stop.
Mhm.
I took cheers off of paintball to win that. Took the W on that one.
That's the way more
Yeah,
important W.
yeah. So that was good. And then when I got back in, I just kind of went. I went to a CFOA practice day and ended up talking to some guys. Ended up joining up with with the Carolina Clutch. Actually, no, it was the Wreckers. It yeah, yeah. It was, old Justin Lamb saw me. He's like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" And, you know, he's a nice guy. He picked me up. I played with them for a couple seasons, and then, we ended up, splitting off and becoming Carolina Clutch.
Okay.
So and, I played with Carolina Clutch until we won too much. I got bumped up to D3 again.
And then took some time off. You have made a career out of winning D4
Right?
events, sir.
Yeah.
So, honestly, it's a true inspiration for me. Like, there's a way to do this.
Yeah. So what's funny, so I was D3, right? I got bumped to D3 and, everyone on our team on Clutch got bumped up to D3, so we couldn't field the D4 team with all of us, so I kinda backed out, and I was like, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna go play D5 then. I'm gonna play I'm gonna sandbag as far as I can go." So, I teamed up with Rice and Beans. We got the Rice and Beans jersey and, Roth and the kids, and I was their D5 player on so I was the D3 player on their D5 X-ball team.
Okay.
So, that was, we're allowed one, so
Yeah. Hey, do what you do, right?
but, yeah, we had a lot of fun on some events there, and then and now I'm back to D4 again, so now we're able to play D4 again.
So, and you've been with them for what, the last 3 years-ish? Has it
Is
been
it 2?
3?
I don't know, man, like,
Maybe
honestly,
it's 2.
time flies by.
Yeah. So,
It might be 3 because
I think it's
I played
3.
the C3 or the Carolina.
Yeah, the CPXL with them,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Or did it? Yeah, you got
So, remember
well,
I
you got
played
the
played
C3XL with them.
remember I played that one CPXL with
You played that one with us on
Relapse?
Relapse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we won 1st
Helped us
place.
get that W.
Yeah, yeah, I was
You wanna
calling
win, you pull in Tony Tran.
sushi off the break every point. That was awesome.
Just murdering fools.
And then,
That was a really fun event.
Kev would just go run down the snake and shoot everyone in the back. That was great. It was him or Brad, right? We were taking turns. They were just like, "Okay." Yeah, I was getting 2 kills off the break that layout, every point. That was amazing. And so that was that year, and then the following year, I played it with Rice and Beans, and we ended up
Yeah.
taking the W that year, and, I wanna say I think I won, like, a 3-on-1 on in the final match, and that was crazy because like, we were playing against a team with a bunch of 20-year-olds, and I'm pushing 43 right now, so it was like
Makes you feel good, doesn't it?
it does. It does. Honestly, I got asked, I'm like, "When are you gonna stop playing paintball?" And I was like, "Well, when they're better than me, I guess. I don't know."
Yeah, keep doing it as long as you can do it. As a fellow 40-year-old, I'm just gonna rock until I can't rock
Yeah.
anymore.
It's like when I get waxed off the field and I can't compete anymore against the kids, then I'll take my seat. But until then, you gotta fight
Mhm.
for it.
Yeah. No, I love that mentality, and, I love that you have found a way to continue playing locally, right? Because it's especially in the Carolinas for a while, it was hard. Like, you just couldn't. And I know Ryan with Clutch, right?
Mhm.
He like that organization got huge,
Dude, we had
but
like
he provided.
yeah, there was over 40 players going to events because of Ryan put that group
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
But that also allowed a bunch of like D3 guys to play locally again.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And like the important thing was you had to have enough D4 lines to support do 2 D3 players each, right? And s and we had that, and it was great, and it worked great so many years, and, like, if you ranked out, they'd shuffle you to another line just to make sure you got on a squad, and,
Mm.
I mean, Clutch was I love that program, love those guys. They're great, and I think they're still doing it. I mean, I think they're playing more golf than paintball now, but we'll see.
Yeah. Everyone takes a break every now
Yeah,
and then is what I've learned, but you'll be back.
those come back.
That's why I say don't sell your stuff. Like just keep one set up because you'll be back.
But yeah, that's very true.
So what about the Rice and Beans guys like has made you stick around with the kids so long?
They're good kids, man. They listen. they've got a ton of aptitude, a ton of aptitude. They had a ton of natural talent, right, out the gate. I mean, in D6, they were unstoppable. In D5, they were unstoppable. And in D4, they're just learning that practice is important. So I think it's one of those things where if we can get them to practice, I mean, they're multi-talented kids, right? So they're all in band.
Yeah.
They're all, half of them in college right now. Uh, they're doing like semi-pro, like drumline, stuff like that. And then also balancing a tournament paintball team on it. So
Yeah.
we're not really able to commit to a full tournament series, but we are playing events here and there, right, as the schedule permits. And then,
Yeah.
and so really the important thing really is now making practices effective as we can get together. So I think it's important, like Kevin Gardner out there, he's like taking lead when we're at practice, and he's really running the drills, getting everyone to run drills, getting everyone to run practice, and making it an effective day, and not just playing 6, 7 points of paintball and talking between every point, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important we got guys like that at the field that are helping drive practice, and then I'll be there telling the guys, hey, we need to focus on this, focus on that, practice, doing this, let's communicate better, and really just focusing on the fundamentals and pushing in like our paintball knowledge, right? Because we don't have as much time to get it in with them. So it's like, but they've got tons of aptitude, and I see it, right? And they want it, and they're hungry. And I don't know. I'm thinking like I'm kind of like in dreamland. I'm thinking maybe when they're in their mid-20s, they'll be at a point
Okay.
where they can really commit, and maybe we can make a run at it. Who knows? Who knows what they'll be at?
Yeah. I mean, that's a long time for those boys.
Yeah,
It'll seem like nothing for us,
I
but
know,
it's a
right?
long, on top of all the stuff you mentioned, like, some of them have entered the workforce and they're young men and they're figuring it out. Uh, but I think that's what I appreciate about Roth and that organization is like the fact that you can come and go as much as you need or want to, right? Like
Yeah, yeah. There's no
if you
pressure right
tell
now.
Roth you want to play,
Yeah, it's really
you'll
about having fun and fellowship and hanging out with like-minded people, having a good time, and really, it's about the boys, right? Helping the boys with their development in the sport and their development in life. So,
and they got that 3-man thing down on lock, that's for sure.
yeah,
Just got translated over to 5-man.
I know, right? Yeah. So we'll figure it
So
out.
yeah, uh, just takes time. I think I love the C3XL, but if you rank up throughout that, it's a rough transition to 5-man. Not that uh, the boys are unique in that they played 5-man sporadically throughout, but some other teams I think have ranked up in the C3XL, which once again, great league. Love you, Tyler. Um, but the transition to 5-man, if all you've done is from D6 to D4, it's a little bit of rough.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's definitely an eye opener. I mean, it's exponentially more paint flying at your face off the break.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot more. Field's a little bit bigger, but that doesn't change the fact you got 2 more guns up. So, what's been your favorite event in the last couple years?
Man, last couple years. I mean, okay, so my favorite event. It's really tough because like my memory isn't focused on when and where, right? Like, I have a really bad historical memory. I can remember things happening. I don't remember when and where it happened.
So, like situations you got,
Yeah, yeah. So
but if it was like 2 weeks ago or 2 years ago, who knows?
right, yeah, I don't know what like, so what I will say I loved playing the event with you guys with Relapse, right? That was just a fun event. Um, we were just having fun. We're killing it, destroying those D5
Yeah.
kids. And then I am playing with Rice and Beans, at the CPXL. That was great. You know what? I think they the CPXL still owes them the trophy from that event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Never got it.
Scuba Steve still owes them the trophy from that event. He said it's in the mail, and then, like,
And dude, Scuba, where's it
"Yeah,
at?
come on, Scoob." Cough it up, bro. It was a really nice trophy too, because the next event I saw it and I was like, man, because the next event they gave the team their trophy and it's like, wait a second, where's the rice and beans trophy? Um, but yeah, so no,
It's at that team's place now.
yeah, where's it at? But no, that was a fun event, man. Just having a good time. There was one event I played with Clutch where I want to say we had 7 guys to start the day, and one guy pulled a hammy. And then, so we were like down to 6 players, and then another guy got injured. We were down to 5 players in the finals. And
Ooh,
this was right after this was I think it was the Dallas layout 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And so we were playing, and the whole Clutch team came together to be our pit crew and support us and to wipe us down and
nice,
get us paint, aired up, wipe down, get us water. And we played 5 up for the finals match, and we ended up taking first place.
nice.
And I was so tunnel vision at after that. I was like, "We won?" I came into the pit asking for more paint. I was like, "I need 7 pods." And they're like, "No, man, that's it." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "That's it." And I was like, "Oh, no, what?" And like, "You won." I was like, "Wait, what? We won?" I was so out of it, dude. I was so tunnel vision. It was like I couldn't see anything. Like, we ended up winning, and I didn't realize that after when we hung the flag and, we hit the buzzer. That was just such a redeeming event, you know? Like, we grinded that entire time, and it was a hard event, but we left it on the field.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite ones recently, in recent years anyway.
What about all time favorite paintball memory?
You know it's World Cup. You know it's the
Yeah,
absolute
yeah, I
chaos.
know, but you gotta talk about it.
It's the Chaos World Cup, dude. We put I wanna say, and I'm sorry, but the Augusta Desolators, we made them cry. When we put them out of the at the prelims, we made them cry. Sorry, guys, but it was so good. And, I think we had a little bit of beef with them for no reason, just because 'cause they were a South Carolina team and, you know, they weren't our South Carolina team. But no, we went undefeated that entire event. Every single match, we just plowed through, plowed through, plowed through, and we put everything together that we needed to. I think I was playing the best paintball I'd ever played in my entire life, and then finals happened. I wanna say I got shot off the break the first point, and I was like, "I gotta sit," right? Because like, my hot streak, I could feel my hot streak just ended, and I was like, "I gotta sit," and that was the best decision I made because the guys picked it up from there, right? And
Yeah,
and that's the thing in paintball, like, as an adult, you have to acknowledge when your hot streak is over, right? And you have to trust your team to carry it the rest of the way.
yeah,
So, and that's if everyone did that, we wouldn't be fighting for spins, right? You'd have the top
absolutely.
you'd
Yeah,
have the top 5. You gotta have the top 5. If you wanna win, it's top 5. If you wanna be top 5, practice. If you wanna be top
yeah,
5, practice. If you wanna be top 5, stay hydrated. If you wanna be top 5, you gotta hit your drills. You gotta eat healthy. You gotta work out. You gotta stay on top of your fitness. If you can't be top 5, don't expect to get spins
yeah,
or
yeah.
or expect not to win.
Yep, yeah.
So just
I mean,
admit
those are the options.
yeah, just
So,
admit you're playing for fun, and that's fine too, and
yeah.
that's cool. I've played
And,
for
you know,
fun.
the fun team can win it every now and then, right? But, I mean, if you want a real shot at it, it's top 5, and you have to be on like, if you're one of those guys and, like, you at World Cup, I think a lot of players have had a experience like this where they're on fire and then all of a sudden they're not, and setting that ego aside and being like, I'm not the guy anymore. See if, my B or whoever can get it done.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how it worked out, and, like, thankfully, like, I was on a team that, our squad was as deep as they were wide, right? So we were super
Mm,
deep. Anyone could play at anyone's position at that point, and it was great. So,
nice.
yeah, I mean, that's why I take the table at any team I'm on, I'm like, "Look, if anyone's not feeling hot, take a bench." Sit 2 points until you feel like it, like you've got it in you again.
Yeah.
So, and that's not just physically, that's mentally too. If your mind's not in the game, someone else will.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I think the mental aspect's more important. Human beings are incredible with what they can push themselves through physically, but if you lose it mentally and you You just need to be able to say, "Hey, I got to step off for a little bit here," because if you don't have that edge, you shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what's in the gear bag, man? Anything unique in the gear bag or something you have to play with?
Yeah, so I picked up, I'm still shooting a Lux, TM40,
Okay.
um, and I love how it shoots. I hated the original Luxes. My opinion on guns is I wanna pull the trigger and I want the ball to leave my barrel as fast as it can, right? I mean, like, the difference between the trigger pull and the ball leaving the barrel. I don't like, I loved the Mark back when the Mark was around, the Bob Long gun because it was a quick shooting gun. You pulled the trigger, the round was out, right? It's
Yeah.
important when you're snap shooting. It's important when you see somebody, you're picking someone up if they're bumping. I don't want to wait 30 milliseconds for a ball to leave my barrel, and that's a long time. I like short dwell guns. So when I heard that they changed the engine on the TM to a shorter firing engine, I was like, oh, let me try it out, and I was like, this is perfect. So I've been shooting that ever since, and it's just like I can't shoot any other gun but that. I was shooting the NT before. The NT is a really fast shooter, but
Yeah.
there was something wrong with the way that the bolt seal O-ring would get pinched over a certain amount of time, and it was just not as reliable. But but yeah, man, that TM40 just it shoots dreams.
Nice. So while we're on guns, Andy Taco Shop question, financing available. Pickle jars out at PBC right now looking for your donations. Is there one that got away?
A gun?
Yeah, like when you're like, I shouldn't have let that one go.
So yeah, yeah. So that remember I told you about the Mark? I
Yeah.
had a Mark 7 and I had tuned it so perfect. It okay, so they had a resonant frequency. I can't explain it. I was just tuning it one day. I got the LPR right, I got the HPR right. It was shooting plus or minus. All right, so I was at the chrono at PSP and it shot 299, 299, and the ref was like, "Get out of here." He was mad at me like, "Get out of here." And I'm like, "Look, man, all right, this thing's reliable." And so but I had it tuned so tight. I don't know, there was a resonant frequency and it sounded like a laser gun. It sounded like Marvin the Martian's laser gun. Whenever
Oh,
it was like,
that's awesome.
"Boink, boink, 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 boink," and I remember playing a GFOA. Shoot, I played with a team called Celtic. So I played with a team called Celtic. I think it was either before or after Crusaders. It had to be before Crusaders for, like, a year. It was like a local team, but we played GFOAs, and, everyone at the GFOA was like, "Are you serious? This gun sounds like a laser gun. That's crazy." And I was like, "I don't know, man. It's just tuned just right." So it was a perfect shooting gun. I'm sad that I don't have it because it was just so good.
Nice. Something about those Bob Long guns, man, always had a unique sound signature to them.
Yeah, I mean, it was built okay, so, like, honestly, that design was a lot like a Tippmann. The way it was like an engineered Tippmann, right? So it looked good, it shot good,
Yeah.
it was optimized. It had an LPR, and instead of being spring driven, it was a rammer, right? Solenoid driven. But, man, I had that gun sound like a freaking laser gun, and, it was so consistent. It was so consistent. So, I wish I had that gun, man, today. It's candy apple red, if anyone still has it out there.
You want it back?
That was nice. And then, my original Angel, that old Angel I told you about, that purple one,
Yeah, the purple one.
I gave it to some kid, dude. Gave it to some kid, and, like, I was just feeling really charitable because I never use it, and it still shot, and I was like, "Here," and I was like, 2 weeks after I did that, I was like, "That was dumb."
The
It's like,
kid probably doesn't even play anymore.
I know, I've never seen that gun again, so I don't know if it's in some kid's closet or at a pawn shop or what, so we'll never know.
Nice. Well, you've been around it for a hot minute. If you got to reshape competitive paintball,
Yeah.
how would it look?
It looked like baseball.
Okay.
You'd have your yeah, so as far as, like, the National League, right? So
Yeah,
you'd have
yeah.
your pennants, you'd have your East Coast, your West Coast. You'd have it broken into regions. You'd have your local events. You'd have probably I don't know, maybe not like big tournaments, but you'd have matches. You know, you'd have a match at a local field versus another team, maybe play 2 matches for the weekend, and that would get entered in. And you'd do that probably once or maybe twice a month. And then towards the end of the year, you know, you'd have your pennant race, and then you'd have your World Cup.
Okay. I kinda like that.
But
So, like, it
that doesn't give you all the national series, right? You can't have 5 national events doing that.
yeah. Yeah.
What you could have is you could have the pro series holding national events, but they're not being financed by the divisionals.
Mhm.
But if you did the whole pennant race thing, instead of paying per event, you could pay your league fee, and your
Mhm.
league fee could go towards things like subsidizing the pro series.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like there's ways to do it. I'm sure I haven't run the numbers, but I mean, it would cut down on the amount of mandatory travel for everybody.
Mhm.
And then, of course, World Cup will be like an open division, right? But
Yeah.
like the pennant races would be where you'd see your real competition.
Mhm.
So, and then you could uplift your divisional teams. Like you would know who the West Coast team was. You'd know who the East Coast team
Mhm.
was, right? You'd see.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you could tell those stories a little bit more.
right.
And I kinda like that. So, let me ask you this, in this pennant series idea, is there a new layout for every match, or is it like everyone's first match is gonna be on this layout or first matchup? Like, if they're if the Ironmen are going to Impact in San Diego, but wherever, Sacramento, are they gonna play on layout A, and then when the Russians are playing damage down in Tampa Bay, are they gonna play on layout A too? And then once everyone's gone through that first little round, the layout changes?
That sounds about right. Yeah, it'd be like
Okay.
national layout day, right? So like it'd be national game day, right? Everyone would play their
Mhm.
games on the same layout across the country. And obviously,
Okay.
it would require fields. The thing is, like, it would give back to the local fields too, right? Local fields
Mhm.
would be supporting the National League.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
not
because
sure.
then you could build like a little mini stadium for these pro matches, right?
Yeah, and like the pro matches would be playing at local fields too. I would imagine, you know, like they're regular season games, right?
Mhm.
So you'd have your regular season, and then you have your pennant race, and you'd have your World Cup. I mean, that's how I would see it.
Like that. And that I feel like that's gonna drive people to the field. Like, "Hey, I can go and watch,
Right.
these pro
Yeah, you'd have your local
events."
teams. I mean, if you wanted your fans to show up, you'd only be like maybe an hour or 2 away max. You bring
Mhm.
your whole family, bring your whole fans, you know, whatever, local team. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to like pipe dream it, but I think that if that was the setup, it would be friendlier, or it'd be a higher um involvement. You'd have more
Yeah.
participation in the
Mhm.
National League.
Yeah.
Because if you
Well,
won the pennant, you know, if you won the pennant, you'd have your way paid, right?
yeah.
You'd probably win a trip
Yeah.
to World Cup, and then everyone else would have to pay their way to World Cup, but then you'd have, you know, at World Cup, you'd have the championship playoffs.
Mhm.
So that would be a separate event, would be the playoffs.
Nice. I like that.
I think that'd be awesome. And that's major league. That's Major League Paintball, right?
Yeah.
That's MLP. That's what I thought the direction they were gonna go when they changed the name to MLP, and I was like, "Oh, man, they're gonna structure it like baseball. Okay, this is great," and they didn't. So,
Yeah. I think eventually we'll probably get like a East and West Coast conference, maybe, where they're still holding events, but you're only seeing the West Coast guys at the West Coast events and the East Coast guys at the East Coast events, and then coming together for World Cup.
I know it costs so much money to run an event, right? You've gotta put all those fields
Yeah.
up, you gotta pay the refs, you gotta pay the insurance, the cleaning crew, everything, right? All the staff. At some point, you've gotta look at it and say, maybe instead of holding 5 national events, maybe you have all these teams pay franchise fees. You have every field in America paying a franchise fee, and they're all having local events that tie into the pennant race.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to hold an event, you're just holding the intellectual property, and you're holding the scorekeeping, right?
Mhm.
And, it becomes less of a money drain on every team, and more of a, you know, you're playing more ball.
Mhm. So with that format, would you keep like the time of matches the same or would you increase it more?
Yeah, no, I like the pace. I like the time of the matches. I'm not complaining about that. I think
Mhm.
it's fun. I mean, it's about as least controversial, right? I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like I'm wanting to put penalty boxes back in or increase the rate of fire to 15 balls a second or, you know,
I'm not saying we don't.
not saying we don't, right? That'd be cool, but I mean,
I love a good penalty box.
if you wanna increase participation, you don't need that much chaos, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
kinda
that's fair.
you gotta have a format that everyone can understand, that everyone can play, and I think the current format, as far as the match style, is good to go, and I like it. I think split decks at first, when we first introduced split deck, I was like, "This sucks," but then
Mhm.
I was like after the first match, I was like, "Oh, it's not bad."
Mhm.
So you can have more than 2 minutes of break time between points or, or a minute and 11 seconds, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of variable there.
Right, and more often than not, it's more than 2 minutes, though, so it's not bad.
Yeah. And when like I feel like not enough people the split bet deck's been around for a hot minute now. When you get to even your fourth match and you aren't playing split deck, those 2 minutes are pretty short.
Well, yeah, yeah, it's hard, even, even nowadays, when the other team finishes their matchup and like, "Oh, we're in X ball now," right?
Mhm.
It's like it's a panic because it's like, "Oh, no, we only have 2 minutes," or it's like, "Wait a second, back in the day, we wanted 2 minutes and we were fine with 2 minutes,
Yeah.
but now it's like we've been kind of, uh, I don't know, like, spoiled with split deck."
Mhm.
It keeps the
Well,
matches rolling faster, but, you get more pit time, I think, honestly.
yeah. Well, and I think split deck's probably the way to go for divisional play, right?
I agree.
I think the argument is when you're having pros and you're trying to tell a story, you're switching in between two stories,
I
which
agree.
can get
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, definitely. In pro, it's hard to because you lose the drama from the last point, right? You wanna
Yeah.
be able to carry the drama from the last point to this point and say,
Hmm.
"Oh, man, last point, so and so ripped this guy a new one, and what's he gonna do this point? How's it gonna fare out?"
Yeah.
And it's like, you lose that drama, and then you're trying to go back to it after having, something different, and it's like, I don't know, you lose that angle, right, of attraction to
Hmm.
the viewer.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, authors do this all the time when they're telling stories, but like you'll be really into what's happening in the chapter, and then all of a sudden the next chapter switches to somewhere else in the story. And you're like, just want to finish what this is.
Yeah.
I don't want to go over here. Like that's what you're doing with Split Deck when we're looking at it on a national scene.
Yeah. At the pros when you're following personalities, you've
Hmm.
got strong personalities out there, you've got high drama, you've got, super dynamic movement. Yeah, I think the pro matches, if they're being honestly, if they're being, like, broadcast,
Hmm.
I wouldn't be against them cutting up and editing the broadcast to match,
Yeah.
to at least throw the matches, continuously, right?
Hmm.
And then, I think that's great, following point to point to point. You can actually follow how one team is doing and how the other one's doing and how they're breaking down the other team. And you can
Yeah.
really learn from it better than if you're trying to pay attention to 4 different play styles.
Yeah. Well, and they've done some like post-event editing of some matches in the last year or so to make them look, they've taken out the split deck portion, right? So it's just Tampa and Ironman or whoever, and you're just watching that, and it's easier to watch it, follow it, and kind of dissect how those two teams are playing for sure.
Well, that's good. But like you said, man, if you're watching it live, if you're in the stands, if you wanna attract fans to the stands, I think, yeah, having one-on-one X-ball style is the way to go.
Yeah.
'Cause split deck, you lose the attention, right?
We cruised over an hour, so thank you. I don't know how much you told your wife you were gonna be in here for.
I kinda didn't. I was like, I gotta talk to Hunter for a little bit.
Awesome. Well, shout out who you want to shout out.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
we'll
I
take
love,
it out for the
Roth,
night.
with the Rice and Beans crew. Shout out to, I mean, Patrick, McKenna. we're good buddies, and he was probably one of the best coaches that really helped, I think, local paintball. Here in Greenville, he's still trying to push it on some level. I don't know. I think he's always got some in his pocket. Uh,
Yeah, the new he's part of the team behind the new stats thing that came out, which is it's really cool.
that is pretty sweet. And shout out to the Greenville homies. You know, keep grinding, keep the field alive.
Well, man, thank you. This was overdue, and they don't know this, but we it's graduation week here, and I had to postpone it a bunch. So
Oh yeah,
thanks for being flexible, man. I really appreciate
at
it.
any time, man.
So, all right, well, you gotta hang out just for a little bit. Everyone else, we'll see you next time on the Planet Paintball podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Planet Paintball podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Whether you're out there grinding in the divisional pits or chasing dreams on the pro stage, remember, it's all about the passion, the hustle, and the love for the sport. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and we'll see you back here on the Planet Paintball podcast